Welcome back, everybody, to The Deep Dive. And today we're going to be talking about something that is near and dear to my heart, something I think all of us are interested in, and it is realistic health optimization.
Oh, yes.
Um, and we have a great source today. This is an interview of Dr. Duran Shah, a surgeon-turned-wellness specialist.
Yeah.
And this is from the JayShettyPodcast. Have you heard of Jay Shetty?
I have, yes. Big fan.
Yeah, great podcast. And this one is really interesting. It's not your typical kind of health advice, is it?
No, not
Right.
at all. It's much more like data-driven. He wants you to be the CEO of your own health.
I love that.
Yeah.
The CEO of your own health.
It is, like taking control, taking ownership.
Yeah. So being proactive
Yeah.
instead of reactive.
Exactly.
He actually talks about that, how Western medicine a lot of times is like waiting till something's wrong
Right.
to fix it instead of optimizing in the first place.
It's like waiting for your car to break down before you change the oil.
Perfect analogy.
Yeah. He says we need to shift our mindset to prevention and long-term well-being. And I think a good place to start with that is nutrition.
Yeah, absolutely. And he doesn't shy away from, the kind of tricky landscape of the modern food landscape,
Right.
talking about ultra-processed foods.
Yeah.
And how they're designed to be hyper-palatable,
Oh, yeah. They hijack our taste buds.
but they're not doing us any favors.
Not in the long run. But you know what? He doesn't even tell you to jump into some restrictive diet.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. He just says, swap those processed foods for fresh, organic options.
Okay, so it's like that 80-20 rule.
Yeah.
Just make a simple swap.
Yeah.
What kind of an impact does he say that can make?
He says that can make a major difference in how you feel, how often you're hungry, all those kinds of things.
Interesting.
Yeah, your body really responds when you give it the nutrients it's craving.
That makes sense. So nourishing your body instead of just filling it.
Yep.
He also talks about, and I have to admit, I don't really know what this is, he talks about understanding your glucose response curve.
So that's basically how your blood sugar changes after you eat.
Okay.
You know when you have a big pasta lunch and then you get that energy slump?
Oh.
That's your glucose spiking and then crashing. He says you can track this with a continuous glucose monitor
Oh, wow.
and see how different foods affect you specifically.
Interesting. So it's personalized nutrition.
It is
Right.
fascinating.
I like that. And then he gets into protein.
Yeah.
And not just how much you eat, but he talks about making sure you're maintaining muscle mass.
Especially as we age, because we lose muscle mass naturally as we get older.
Right.
He gives a target, 1 gram per pound of body weight every day.
Okay.
A lot of protein.
That's a lot of protein.
But it is important.
Okay, good to know.
Yeah.
What about supplements? Because that's something that I think can be kind of overwhelming
Yeah.
for people to even know where to start.
Totally overwhelming. But I really like his approach to supplements because he says, they're there to fill the gaps after you've optimized your diet.
Oh,
Not a quick fix.
got it. So like a targeted approach instead of just like a blanket approach?
Exactly.
Okay.
So the things that he recommends as staples are vitamin D3, K2,
Okay.
magnesium,
Mm-hmm.
creatine, actually.
Oh, really? I always thought creatine was like a bodybuilder thing.
Me too.
Interesting.
But it actually has a lot of health benefits for cognitive function, muscle health.
Wow.
Yeah. So he recommends that. And then sometimes he'll add in a phytonutrient powder and a multivitamin,
Okay.
but it's always in conjunction with a healthy diet.
And speaking of diet, he's a big advocate for
Vegetables.
vegetables. Let me guess. He's not talking about a side salad.
No. He says 800 grams a day.
800 grams. That's a lot of vegetables.
A lot of vegetables.
Any tips on how to actually make that happen?
Well, he says smoothies are a great way to get in a lot of greens. You can do stir fries, soups, roasted veggies. Just make them the star of your meal,
Okay.
not the side dish.
I remember him mentioning something about the Dirty Dozen.
Yes. Check the Environmental Working Group's website. They have a Dirty Dozen list, which is the produce with the highest pesticide residues. So you can prioritize organic options for those.
Great resource. Okay, so we've talked about nutrition. What's next on the roadmap to realistic health optimization?
Exercise.
Exercise.
And this is where he kind of hits us with a hard truth,
Oh.
which is that sedentary behavior, sitting for long periods of time, is a silent killer.
It's true. We spend a lot of time sitting.
We do. So what's the solution? Does everybody need to become marathon runners?
I hope not.
He says no. Just consistent movement throughout the day is more beneficial than like a few hours at the gym once a week.
Okay.
So it's those little things that add up.
Got it.
He recommends exercise snacks.
The exercise snacks, what is that?
So every 45 minutes, get up and move around your office or do some squats while you wait for the kettle to boil. Just little bursts of activity.
Okay, I like that. Feels much more manageable than like, you know, got to get that hour workout in.
It does. He also talks about strength training. Especially as we age, it's important to prevent muscle loss and frailty.
That makes sense. What else does he recommend movement-wise?
Just to find ways to make it social and enjoyable.
Okay.
So pickleball, hiking with friends, dancing, anything that gets you moving and makes you happy.
I love that. So finding activities you actually like to do.
Exactly. He says consistency is key, not intensity.
Gotcha. It's about sustainable changes, not, some crazy unattainable ideal.
Exactly.
Okay. This is all really great advice. What's the next piece of the puzzle when it comes to optimizing our health?
Sleep.
Sleep.
I am a huge believer in the power of a good night's sleep.
Oh, me too. Absolutely, me too.
So, Dr. Shah dives into the science of sleep, how we can optimize our sleep for better health and well-being. And he makes a really great point. He says we should understand our own sleep patterns first.
Okay, yeah.
So using like a wearable device or even a sleep diary can help you identify issues.
So it's like getting to know your own sleep rhythms.
Exactly. He recommends those things like the Oura Ring or the Whoop Band, the things that offer detailed sleep data. But he says don't get too fixated on the numbers.
Okay.
It's about using the data to inform positive changes.
Got it. So not about achieving, like a perfect score.
Exactly. So now that we've talked about that, let's talk about some potential issues.
Okay.
He talks about sleep apnea, which is surprisingly common.
It is.
A lot of people don't even know they have it.
Yeah.
And it's when you stop breathing momentarily during your sleep.
Yeah.
And it can have some pretty serious consequences if it's not treated.
Wow. Are there any red flags that people should watch out for?
Yeah, so he says some telltale signs are waking up gasping for air, excessive daytime sleepiness, loud snoring, those kinds of things.
Okay.
And then he says you can take the Stop Bang questionnaire online just as a preliminary assessment.
Oh, okay.
And if you suspect you might have it, definitely talk to your doctor. There are effective treatments available.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know. What about those of us that fall asleep fine but then wake up a bunch of times during the night?
Oh, yeah. He says the three big culprits for that are nocturia, which is frequent nighttime urination.
Yeah.
Going to bed with anxiety swirling in our minds, and then eating or drinking too close to bedtime.
Okay. It's amazing those little things can disrupt our sleep so much.
They really can.
Yeah. What are his recommendations for addressing those issues?
So for nocturia, there are medications and exercises that can help. For anxieties, keep a notebook by your bed to write down anything that's bothering you. And then eating, finish your last meal 3 or 4 hours before bedtime.
Okay, so giving your body time to digest before you try to sleep.
Yeah.
I've also noticed that my sleep is way better when I put my phone away an hour before bed.
He says the same thing. Minimize screen time before bed because that blue light messes with your melatonin production.
Right, it's tricking our brains into thinking it's still daytime.
Exactly. He also says to optimize your sleep environment. We should really be thinking cave, cool, dark, and quiet.
Yeah, I love that imagery.
Yeah, our bodies are still wired that way for sleep.
Right, that makes sense.
So 65 degrees Fahrenheit, blackout curtains or an eye mask, a white noise machine, and establish a consistent sleep routine.
Oh, yeah, so going to bed, waking up around the same time every day, even on weekends.
Yes, and he says that routine actually starts the moment you wake up. You should get exposure to sunlight first thing to help regulate your circadian rhythm.
Oh, so open those curtains and let the sun shine in.
Exactly. He also recommends a sleep alarm to remind you to start winding down.
That's great advice. I'm feeling much more inspired to prioritize my sleep now. What else does he cover in the interview?
Let's move on to the fascinating world of gut health.
Okay.
Which is so crucial for well-being. I'll admit, for years, I was completely in the dark about how important it was.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are in the same boat. We don't realize the connection until something goes wrong.
That's so true. He stresses the importance of being proactive with gut health, and he talks about inflammation.
Oh.
He calls it the root of all evil.
The root of all evil. Is inflammation really that bad? I mean, it is a natural part of the body's healing process.
He does acknowledge that acute inflammation is good. He's talking about chronic inflammation, the kind that simmers and leads to all sorts of problems.
So it's about keeping inflammation in check.
Exactly. So he explains that a leaky gut, that's where the lining of the intestines becomes permeable, can contribute to chronic inflammation.
Oh, okay. And leaky gut can lead to other issues then, right?
It can. from energy levels and mood to immune function.
Wow, I had no idea.
Yeah, it's amazing how much it affects. So how do we know if we have this leaky gut thing going on?
That's a good question.
He recommends a blood test called HSCRP. It measures levels of C-reactive protein, a marker of inflammation. You want that number to be as close to 0 as possible.
Okay, so if it's elevated, it could be a sign of gut issues.
Exactly. He highlights the importance of a functional medicine doctor for this.
Okay, and just to clarify, what's the difference between functional medicine and conventional medicine?
Functional medicine is about addressing the underlying causes of disease, not just managing symptoms.
So getting to the root of the problem instead of just putting a Band-Aid on it.
Perfect. He says that common culprits for gut issues are gluten and dairy sensitivities and imbalances in the gut microbiome.
The gut microbiome, that's those trillions of bacteria that live in our digestive tract.
Exactly. He says eliminating inflammatory foods and incorporating gut healing protocols can significantly improve gut health and reduce inflammation.
It really is amazing how everything's connected, our gut health to our overall well-being.
It really is. Now let's move on to heart health.
Okay, heart health is definitely top of mind for a lot of people. What does he have to say about that?
So he stresses early detection when it comes to heart disease.
Yeah.
He says there are 2 specific cholesterol tests, ApoB and LPA.
ApoB and LPA. Wait, those aren't the standard cholesterol tests that you get?
No, they're not.
Okay, what makes them different?
So ApoB measures the total number of atherogenic particles in your blood.
Okay,
Those are the ones that can contribute to plaque buildup.
got it.
And LPA is a genetic form of cholesterol that can actually increase your risk of heart disease, even if your other cholesterol numbers look good.
Wow.
Yeah,
So these tests can provide a much more detailed picture of your heart health.
they really can. And he says if those tests come back and they're elevated, you really need to take steps to lower your risk through lifestyle changes or maybe medication.
Okay, so prevention is key. Does he talk about any other tools for assessing heart health?
He does. He mentions advanced cardiac scans that can actually detect blockages before they become life-threatening.
Wow, that's incredible.
It really is.
It's like being able to see into the future of your heart health
Right.
and then take preventative measures.
Exactly. Early intervention can make all the difference.
This is great information. It feels so empowering, to know that there are these tools and strategies that we can use to take control of our health.
I agree. Knowledge is power.
Yep.
Now let's move on to another big one, cancer prevention.
Okay.
It's a topic that a lot of people get scared about, but Dr. Shah really emphasizes that knowledge and early detection are our best weapons.
I think a lot of people are scared of cancer. It's like this big looming thing out there. What are some of his key takeaways on that?
Well, he talks about 2 revolutionary diagnostic tools, full-body MRIs.
Full body MRI. That sounds pretty intense.
They are, but they can catch things in the earliest stages,
Wow.
and liquid biopsies.
Okay, what are liquid biopsies? I've heard the term, but I don't really know what they are.
So it's a blood test that can actually detect fragments of DNA from tumors that are active in your body.
Oh, wow. It's a non-invasive way to screen for cancer.
Exactly. Amazing how far medical technology has come.
It really is. But of course, prevention goes beyond just screenings.
Mhm.
What does he say about lifestyle factors and cancer risk?
He says all the things we've been discussing play a role. Optimizing your diet, sleep, exercise, minimizing toxins.
Okay, so again, that holistic approach, everything's connected.
It really is. He also talks about reducing our toxin exposure in our everyday lives.
Which can feel a little overwhelming, like where do we even start?
He says to focus on the areas where you spend the most time.
Okay.
Your home, your workplace, air purifiers, water filters, choosing organic foods when you can. And there's an app called Think Dirty that you can use to scan barcodes of personal care products to find less toxic alternative.
That's really cool. I love that.
Yeah, so you can make more informed choices.
Okay.
He's all about empowering you to take control of your health.
This has been a really great, insightful deep dive into his approach to realistic health optimization.
Yeah.
We've covered so much ground.
We have.
I'm sure there's even more to unpack, though.
Oh, absolutely. There's so much more. But I think what's so powerful about what he has to say is it's realistic.
Yeah.
He acknowledges that we're all human. We all have busy lives. We don't have to be perfect.
Right.
He wants us to be CEOs of our health, to make informed decisions and celebrate those small victories.
It's about progress, not perfection.
Exactly. It's a lifelong journey.
Yes.
Not a destination.
What are some other areas that you would like to delve into further, because I know that he touched on a few other topics that we didn't really get into too much detail about.
Yeah, well, we could talk about the connection between physical and mental health, the importance of personalized medicine,
Okay.
the fascinating advancements in diagnostic tools,
Right.
and of course, longevity, what it really means to live a longer, healthier life.
Ooh, I'm already excited for the next part of our deep dive. Stay tuned, everyone. We'll be back soon to explore those topics and more.
You know, I was just thinking as we were talking about all these different things that he's talking about, different aspects of optimizing our health, he doesn't actually mention anything about mental health.
It's so funny you say that, because I was thinking the exact same thing. Like, where's the mental and emotional well-being piece of this?
Right, exactly.
But he does touch on it in a way,
Does, yeah.
because he talks about how, stress and anxiety can affect our sleep, our eating habits,
Yeah,
even our motivation to exercise.
absolutely. And then on the flip side, when you are making these positive changes in those areas, it does improve mental and emotional well-being as well.
It's like a cycle, right?
It is, yeah.
Like a healthy mind and a healthy body.
Exactly.
You can't really have one without the other. What are your thoughts on how we can kind of realistically incorporate mental and emotional well-being into this whole approach?
Well, I think mindfulness practices like meditation and yoga can be really powerful for calming the mind, reducing stress. He talks about winding down before bed,
Right.
maybe incorporating a mindfulness practice into your evening routine.
Yeah, I love that. It's like giving your nervous system a break from all the stimulation.
Exactly. Yeah.
And for me, it's also about like prioritizing activities that bring me joy and fulfillment.
Absolutely.
So, he was talking about making exercise social and enjoyable.
Yeah.
I think that same principle applies to life in general.
It really does. Spending time in nature, creative hobbies, connecting with loved ones, those things really nourish your soul and contribute to your well-being.
And those things actually have physical benefits as well, which is interesting.
They do.
Tell me more about that.
So spending time in nature can lower blood pressure, reduce stress hormones.
Wow.
Creative pursuits can boost cognitive function, enhance your mood. And strong social connections have actually been linked to increased longevity and improved heart health.
That's so fascinating.
Yeah.
It really highlights how connected everything is.
Yeah.
It's not just about taking care of our physical bodies.
Right? It's about nurturing our minds and spirits as well.
Exactly. Creating that sense of balance and harmony in all aspects of our lives.
I love that.
As we continue this journey of health optimization, let's remember to address mental and emotional well-being right alongside our physical health.
Absolutely, yeah. Creating a life that feels good on every level.
Exactly.
And speaking of, feeling good on every level, I know that Dr. Shah kind of briefly mentions the idea of personalized medicine.
He does, yeah.
Can you expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, so he talks about how our glucose response varies so widely,
Right.
and how using a CGM can help us personalize our diet to our specific needs.
Okay.
So what works for one person might not work for another.
Right, like moving away from that one-size-fits-all approach to health,
Exactly.
recognizing that we're all different.
He also talked about how certain supplements like vitamin D
Okay.
should be taken based on your blood test results
Okay.
to make sure you're getting the right dosage for you. So it's like a custom designed health plan just for you.
It is.
But it goes beyond, genetics and lab tests.
It does.
It's also about, our preferences.
Yeah, our life
Our
goals.
lifestyles, our
Some of them,
goals.
yeah.
It's finding what feels right for you,
Exactly.
honoring your body.
And working with healthcare providers who understand that, who will partner with you.
Okay, so it's about a collaborative approach.
It is.
Not just, somebody telling you what to do.
Exactly.
It's about empowering yourself to make informed choices.
That's what it's all about.
And, building on this idea of personalized medicine, I'd love to hear a little bit more about these like cutting-edge diagnostic tools and treatments that he mentions.
Yeah, so he talks about full-body MRIs and liquid biopsies for cancer. It's incredible.
But are those widely available right now?
That's a great question. And the answer is they're becoming more available.
Okay.
They're not standard practice yet. They're often used for high-risk cases or when traditional methods haven't worked.
Okay.
Talk to your doctor to see if it makes sense for you.
Right. It makes sense that they're still being integrated into medicine. But it is really exciting to think about the possibilities,
It is.
especially for early detection and personalized treatment.
And that's just the tip of the iceberg. I mean, there's all these new diagnostic tools and treatment modalities and preventative strategies emerging all the time.
It really is mind-boggling, all this new technology.
It is, and it's so important to have a trusted source of information,
Yeah.
to be able to have these conversations with your healthcare provider
Right.
who can kind of break it down for you.
Yeah, because it can be a lot. It can feel like you're drinking from a fire hose.
Absolutely. And not all innovations are game changers. Some might have risks or limitations.
It's about being an informed consumer,
Exactly.
asking questions.
And advocating for yourself.
Right. But it's also about staying curious and open to new possibilities.
Of course, yeah.
But also being grounded in that solid understanding of the fundamentals of health optimization that we talked about earlier.
Absolutely.
So those things are still paramount.
They are. Those are always going to be the foundation.
Okay.
Nutrition, exercise, sleep, stress management, gut health.
Got it.
But as technology advances and our understanding of the body deepens, we can integrate those innovations into our health journey in a way that feels empowering.
Right. So it's about finding that sweet spot between embracing innovation and honoring, that timeless wisdom of taking care of our bodies.
Exactly. Yeah. Now, speaking of timeless wisdom, there's one more area I think deserves a little more exploration.
Longevity. I was just thinking about that.
Yeah.
What it really means to live a longer, healthier life.
That's it. It's not just about extending our lifespan. It's about enhancing our health span.
Okay.
So the years that we live in good health,
Right.
not just adding years to our lives, but adding life to our years.
I love that distinction.
Yeah, it's important. And what's cool is he ties it back to everything we've talked about. Nutrition, exercise, sleep, stress management, gut health, even minimizing those toxins. It's like all these things have a ripple effect that not only influences our health now, but also how well we age.
It's like investing in your future self.
Exactly.
Does he talk about anything else that contributes to longevity?
He does. He actually mentions having a strong sense of purpose in life.
Okay.
And feeling connected to something bigger than yourself.
Okay. But is there any science to back that up?
There is. There's research suggesting that meaning and belonging can really impact your well-being,
Okay.
potentially even how long you live.
Interesting. So it's like having a reason to get out of bed in the morning.
Yeah.
Something that fuels you and keeps you engaged with life.
Exactly. And that purpose can evolve over time. It can be your career, your family,
Yeah.
your community, a passion project. The key is to find what lights you up
I love that.
and go after it.
It sounds like longevity is about a lot more than just how long we live.
It is.
It's about living a life that feels rich and meaningful,
Absolutely.
connected.
Yeah.
Taking a step back and looking at everything that we've talked about,
Yeah.
I'm struck by how comprehensive this approach is.
It's really impressive.
And you know what I think makes it so powerful
What's that?
is that it's realistic. It acknowledges that we're all human, we're busy, we don't have to be perfect.
It is. It's very down to earth.
Yeah, he encourages us to be the CEOs of our own health.
Yes.
Make informed decisions and celebrate those small wins.
Right.
It's about progress, not perfection.
That's it.
And that it's a journey,
It is.
not a destination.
Well said. So as we wrap up this deep dive
Yeah.
into Dr. Shah's insights, what action will you take to become the CEO of your own health?
Ooh, that's a good question. For me, it's about focusing on the small, consistent actions. Those things that I know make a difference
Yeah.
for how I feel. Prioritizing sleep.
Moving my body more.
Yeah.
Being mindful of what I'm eating.
All good things.
Progress, not perfection.
I love it. And remember, those seemingly small changes, they can really have a ripple effect over time.
They can.
You might be surprised at the difference they make in your health and well-being.
I'm so glad we did this deep dive. This has been so insightful. I feel really inspired, empowered to take control, and to create a life that feels good on every level.
I hope you feel inspired too. And we will continue to explore these topics. We'll bring you the latest insights on how to live a healthier, happier, and more fulfilling life. So until next time, stay curious, stay engaged, and keep taking those steps toward the best version of yourself.
Absolutely. And remember, we're all in this together. We would love to hear from you. What action step will you take today? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, take care of yourselves and keep learning.